Good morning from America's newest rules leader on television. This is ALCU UCLA Pre-Med Xcbs22 Wednesday. Your programming on Wednesday. Take a look. Yeah, take a look. What's going on here? Wednesday. Survivor Game Changers. Tables have turned. Criminal Minds. In the dark. Are you stripping? For what? We don't know the answers to these questions. And Criminal Minds again, Beyond Borders. The Devil's Breath. Let's get to our video here. Let's X the past about yesterday. Josh, it's the
Good afternoon,
past.
everybody. Happy Monday.
We're stripping
I do
here.
not have any announcements at the top, so we can go straight to your questions.
In the past,
Darlene,
explained
would you like to go
yesterday.
So over the weekend, Donald Trump's
Over the
chief of
weekend.
staff said the
Yeah,
president
this is the past.
now accepts that Russia was behind the hacking of the DNC and Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman.
The past.
Having Vice Priebus come out and say that Donald Trump now accepts the Intelligence Committee's findings, is that enough for the White House, or do you think that people need to hear Donald Trump come
The
out?
past.
Well, I'm not going to call on the president-elect to make any statements.
The
Obviously, the American
past.
people in the world are watching as he and his
What camera
team
can you be talking about?
do the work to prepare to take over
What
the
camera?
most powerful job in the world.
HIV, you don't say?
And
We're watching this video.
so that obviously, that this entire
January
process is being
9th.
closely scrutinized.
2017.
And it should be. That should be particularly surprising. That's been true of the 44 other presidents of the United States, and it's not particularly surprising that people are closely watching the 45th
We're watching the past.
take office. Obviously, the intelligence community has provided a rigorous analysis of the malicious activity
The malicious activity.
carried out by Russia in
What
cyberspace that
camera?
was intended to interfere with our election.
We don't have a
Was intended
camera.
to harm the prospects of
Josh is talking in two
the
different
president-elect's
places.
opponent in the election. These are
What camera
well-established
could they be
facts.
talking about?
And obviously,
Oh, cam 1.
the world will continue to
Our
watch
cam.
how Mr. Trump and his team, the president-elect and his team,
The
choose to
Lord.
respond.
The president
host
said in at least one
intersecular
interview last week that he
adhesion.
hoped that after Donald Trump
The
was
malicious
briefed by the
activity.
intelligence
What
leaders last
can
Friday that some of the
and
tensions
budding
between the
virus
president-elect
that
and the intelligence
exact
community
mechanisms through which I can
Wouldn't that
so
wouldn't that happen
significantly
if
affect
Donald Trump comes out
HIV
and says, I
biology.
accept that Russia was behind this?
They want a
A
T-Mobile,
statement
correct?
from him sort of contribute to this easing of tensions that the president spoke about.
Why do they want a
Look,
T-Mobile?
What President Obama was talking about was his own experience, and what his own experience
Own experiences.
told President Obama is that he benefited enormously from the
Wow.
men and women of the United States intelligence community, providing him with the best available
Providing
timely
him.
information. And the president counted on the intelligence
president
community to
counted
provide him
on.
information that wasn't shaded
Today
to
shows
advance any
ALCU
ideological agenda. It
UCLA
was not influenced by
Xcbs22
politics.
Wednesday.
And it was presented without any concern that President Obama or anyone on his team was going to exact
We
retribution.
don't have
for
a
the
camera. We
information that
never
was
saw
presented.
one.
And
212. We
the
don't
President
have
of the
a
United States
camera.
benefited from getting an unvarnished assessment from the intelligence community
212.
about the state of the world and facts about the state of the world.
212.
President Obama
We don't have
believed that improved his
one.
decision making, and he believes that President Trump would benefit from having that
Josh,
kind of
tell him we don't
relationship with the
have
intelligence
it.
community.
Tell him we don't have it.
On another subject. A couple of years ago, Meryl Streep visited the White House for a presidential.
Just tell them we don't have it.
The president talked a lot about how much he loves her. Does he
A
think the speech
proposition
last
for
night at the
what?
Golden Globes was
No.
appropriate, that ceremony was the appropriate venue
Absolutely no.
to talk about Donald Trump?
I haven't spoken to the president about
Tell them they can ask that
her speech.
at all.
I didn't see her speech, but I certainly read about it.
We didn't hear the speech. Exactly.
Plenty of attention.
My words
And,
only.
I think what I can say is she clearly was
They don't have credibility to explain what they say.
delivering a thoughtful,
It's a
carefully considered message
proposition. Are they allowed
that
to
she believes in.
proposition us?
And it seemed to me to be
Josh, are they allowed to proposition us?
a fairly straightforward exercise of her
212.
First Amendment rights as a citizen of the United States.
Ever since the election, he's been very reluctant to repeat a lot of the criticisms that he lodged against Donald
They
Trump. during
can't
the campaign.
proposition
So,
us.
And the reason for that is that he's got institutional responsibilities.
We're a billionaire.
He's the president of the United States, and once the election is over, his chief responsibility is to ensure a smooth and effective transition
They can't
to
proposition us.
to the incoming administration. I'm not
They
aware
can't
that the
income
United States
us.
Constitution includes any
Income.
institutional responsibilities for the
come.
lifetime award winner of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association.
They can't access that.
What I'm suggesting is that American citizens have the opportunity to exercise their right to free speech in any way that they choose, and
No.
certainly when it comes to standing up for
When it comes
deeply held
to
values, the American people get to choose how and when and whether to express those sentiments.
I don't know.
President Obama is in a different position because he's got institutional responsibilities. He's got strongly held political views that he frequently and passionately
We're talking to the past.
conveyed on the campaign trail. And those views have not changed, as I've said on a number of occasions. But because of his institutional responsibilities as President of the United States to ensure a smooth and effective transition to the next president, he has to set aside those personal feelings in order to preside over an effective transition and give the incoming team every advantage associated with a running start. And the president has faithfully presided over a process that's done exactly
that. In front of a strip club. What could the question be?
Thank you. Going on to another topic.
Yeah, what could the question be in front of a strip club?
Had a stopover in Houston on Sunday, and she met with some.
It's in front of a strip club. What could the question be?
The White House's response to that and to this seeming, these kind of, I mean, this follows, you know.
Strip club, the Lord. What could it be? Of course not. It's in front of a strip club.
Well, the U.S. policy with regard to Taiwan has not changed. And the president and this administration have pursued that one China policy in the same way that previous administrations have, because we believe that it best serves the national security interests of the United States. We also happen to believe that it serves well the interests of
no proposition.
Our friends in Taiwan. So
they're asking us for fellatio.
I'm not sure to whether or not the Senator Cruz and his team was acting on behalf of the president-elect.
The strip
they obviously
club,
have a rather unique relationship. So you'd have to ask him that. And obviously the incoming administration will determine whether or not to continue this policy once President-elect Trump takes office on January 20th. But as of now, there's nothing about
January 20th.
The meeting that took place over the weekend that in any way changes U.S. policy with regard to Taiwan.
Does the White House feel that meeting shouldn't have happened? Like, would the White House
today's date?
Was the White House supportive of that meeting? Does the White House have a view on that meeting taking place?
The meeting was one that was arranged at Senator Cruz's
today's
initiative.
Date is
as far as I know,
too.
it certainly wasn't coordinated or encouraged by the administration, and the meeting doesn't have any bearing whatsoever on our continued pursuit of a one China policy that benefits the United States and Taiwan.
On one more topic, a U.S. Navy destroyer fired 3 warning shots some Iranian fast attack vessels on Sunday, I believe. Can you talk about, this was the latest incident. There have been a number of these incidents at sea where there have been kind of aggressive measures, and then the U.S. has kind of taken action to kind of stop these aggressive measures happening at sea. I mean, is this a concern, especially as we're in a transition period, we're about to go to a new presidency? Is Iran, like, what may be behind these incidents, and what is your concern that they continue to happen?
Well, Aisha, you're wise to point out that this is that there is a habit of the Iranian military engaging in these kinds of activities in this particular region around the Strait of Hormuz. I can tell you that the United States is aware of the latest incident involving Iranian vessels and the USS Mahan. As the Department of Defense has indicated, the actions were unsafe.
What could they be
not
asking
professional.
if they
These, of course,
know
are the actions that were taken by the
already?
Iranian vessels. At this point, the United States does not know what the intentions of the Iranian vessel were, but the behavior is not acceptable, given that the USS Mahan was operating in international waters.
Listen to the earpiece.
So these types of actions
What else could they
are
be
certainly
asking?
concerning, and
The earpiece told you we have to
certainly risk
listen to
escalating
your
tensions.
ears.
When it is our view that we
Joshie,
should look for
listen
ways
to
to
your
de-escalate
earpiece.
tensions, not unnecessarily escalate them.
Everyone listen
So,
to your
as we've
earpiece.
repeatedly
It tells
noted,
you.
the Strait of Hormuz, as anybody with access
It's
to a map can
Spoliation.
confirm, is a compressed space, which enhances the likelihood for miscalculation.
The invisible guy. Listen to the invisible guy.
So for additional details on the incident about how it actually,
Once you talk to him,
for detailed assessment of what
it's
exactly
whatever you
transpired,
want
I'd
to
refer to
say.
the Department of Defense. But it certainly is the view of the United States. These
Ask the
kinds of
invisible
actions are
guy.
concerning
Ask the
because of
earpiece
the potential
guy.
that they could unnecessarily escalate
Ask
tensions.
the.
Obviously, this is.
Once you talk to him,
at the end of your tenure here,
over.
but President-elect Trump has said that has threatened to, shoot any Iranian vessel out of the water, or any Iranian vessel that harasses the U.S. Navy ship will be shot out of the water. I mean, what do you think about those threats? That clearly hasn't been. This administration's approach has not been to aggressively go back when this harassment has occurred. I guess, what do you think that more needs to be done, or does the administration believe that more is going to need to be done to deal with this?
Well, certainly it is a blanket policy of this administration that U.S. service members have the ability to protect themselves and can exercise that capability when they're threatened directly.
They just walked up.
But our goal, particularly in this compressed region of the world, is to
212.
avoid escalating tensions. And the risk associated with the kinds of actions that we saw from the Iranian vessels is the heightened possibility
this should happen on the 18th.
that
this should happen on
tensions
the
could
18th.
escalate. And it's certainly something that we've gone to great lengths
This is re-audio from the 9th.
Okay. Michelle.
Now that Americans have been able to see the report, the public portion of it at least, on the Russian hacking, some of the criticism out there has been that it's not exactly heavy on evidence. And we heard Julian Assange just this morning call it embarrassing.
He's going to approach you on the 18th.
Well, I think the
What is he going to
report is actually
say?
consistent with what the administration and national security and
They should be in
intelligence
front of
officials have been
showgirls.
saying for months. The
What is
analysis
he
that
going to
was
say?
put forward by the CIA, by the FBI, and the NSA makes
A
clear
red line special.
Russia's culpability for these
This
actions.
is going to happen on the 18th.
It makes clear what Russia's intent was.
Where?
Now, the unclassified version of the report that was released
On the 18th.
prioritized the need to
Josh
inform
doesn't work here
the
on the
American people
18th.
about what exactly
That's it.
transpired. But there was an urgent priority to protect sources and methods
212.
and make sure that the United States could
On
retain
the 18th.
the ability to
What is she
protect the
gonna
American people and protect
say?
our cyber infrastructure here in the United States. So it
Our
means that
Sony Handycam. I don't have a Sony Handycam.
in order to protect those sources and methods,
I don't have one.
we were not prepared to make public how exactly each
But
of these
Josh
pieces of
doesn't work here
information
on
was
the
known.
18th.
But the fact that the vast majority of this report
This is
includes the
re-aired
high confidence
audio from
assessment
the
of the
9th of
FBI, the
January.
CIA, and the NSA, I think should
I think you should tell him no.
send a pretty powerful message
Powerful
about just
message.
how comprehensive
No power.
this
No
evidence
power,
is.
okay? That's what happened
And
on the
again,
18th of
this is a
March.
report that was compiled and put forward by
No power.
intelligence officials who
Showgirls.
dedicate their lives to the safety and security of the United States.
Safety and security.
They are experts in their field.
They're expert at
They
driving.
are not engaged in this activity because it makes them rich or it makes them fame.
This is
or it earns them
pre-banned from
glory.
January
They do
9th.
it because
This will happen
interested
on the
in protecting the
18th
country,
of
they're
March.
patriots. And
Don't pow.
all that said,
All that
it's not surprising to me
said.
that somebody who
Don't
has
pow
become
anybody.
globally infamous for releasing these kinds of
It's the
secrets
212.
may not have a lot of complimentary words.
They're going to be looking for
say
a
about the
camera.
We also heard from some statements from the Trump
They'll be
team
looking for a
saying that
camera.
because the hacking activity
Hi,
predated
Michelle.
the time when it was clear that Donald Trump would be the Republican
We're in
nominee,
front of
it
Showgirls.
seems like the intent was to hurt the Democratic side, but not necessarily help Donald Trump.
But Josh
specifically.
doesn't
Do you
work
agree with
here
that?
at the White
I
House.
think the report was pretty blunt in indicating
This is
the
re-aired
unequivocal nature
audio.
of the
This will happen on
intent
the
of
18th
the Russian operatives who
of
were engaged in this
March.
activity. But look, again, you don't need a security clearance
You
to
don't need a
determine
security
who
clearance.
exactly was harmed by this hack and leak strategy.
This
and who
is the
benefited from it.
212.
So I think it's setting the report aside. I think you'd have a really hard time making the case that somehow
Really hard
the
time
Russians
making
were
the case.
impartial. Again, because we know that they
We know.
hacked Democratic sources and they hacked.
Again, this will happen on the 18th of March,
But the only information
2012, on the 212 of the Showgirls.
was the information that was collected.
Thank you guys very much. We predicted the past. Again, that was audio from the 9th of January. This will happen on the 18th of March. Let's talk to Sean Spicer. Good Lord, are you predicting the future here? Yeah, we're just predicting the future. What's wrong with that? Good Lord. He's predicting the future. January 9th. Yay. We predicted the future. Hello, Mr. Spicer.
Forgive you, we're a little late, so I'll give Jim
This
a
will
break
happen on
this
Saturday,
one.
March 18th.
Thank you. Well, we're getting ready for the season. Got a couple coming. Sorry for the delay, guys. It's budget day. I was supposed to kick this off with Director Mulvaney. He's still on a call with the governors.
Hello, Mr.
to host
Spicer. Did a video,
entire briefings
please.
today with key stakeholders. And so my goal, if this times out right, is that as we finish up, Director Mulvaney will walk in the room right on cue. And then he will talk to you a little bit about the budget, and we'll walk through Q&A.
Today's show is CBS.
So, hopefully
20
this all
seconds.
works.
Hello.
I'm going to skip past the part where I say thank you,
CBS.
Director
Good
Mulvaney.
Lord.
As the director will say, the president's budget blueprint keeps his promise to put American security first, turning his words directly into policies that restore respect for our citizens'
This will happen on
hard-earned
March
tax
18th.
dollars. There were some additional non-budget events of the day. This morning, the
T-Mobile
president had a
billing
bilateral
system.
meeting
Good
with
Lord.
Taoiseach Kenny of Ireland. Our two nations have a long history, common values, and important economic ties. The president was honored to host him here in the Oval Office and recommit to strong social, political, and economic relations between the U.S. and Ireland. This afternoon, the president made the remarks at the Friends of Ireland luncheon at the Capitol. This traditional lunch celebrating Americans' bipartisan commitment to peace and security in Ireland was started in 1983 by President Reagan and Speaker O'Neill, both proud Irish Americans, and has been attended by every president, speaker, and Taoiseach of Ireland since then. And also while at the Capitol this afternoon, right around the Vice President is swearing in former Senator Dan Coates
This is the
as
camera
the
I'm
next
looking
Director
for.
of National Intelligence in his ceremonial office.
It's just the
Former
camera
Senator
they're
Coates
looking
has
for.
clearly demonstrated the deep subject or the
fellatio,
subject matter
which one?
expertise and sound judgment required to lead our intelligence community. And the
Fellatio,
President is finally
no.
glad to have him on board as part of his
No
team.
preposition.
Later this evening, the
No
President, along with
preposition.
T. Kenny, will attend the St. Patrick's Day reception and
That's
participate
the
in the
invisible
annual
guy.
Shamrock ceremony.
Extra earpiece.
Since 1952, the President has invited the T.
That's the guy who
to
sat
come to
next
the White
to
House
him.
in celebration of St.
They're
Patrick's
only
Day,
asking for
where they present a
preposition.
bowl of shamrocks
that-
as a symbol of the profound and lasting relationship
Don't ask.
between the two countries. The President and T. Kenny will also make remarks. I have a few more notes
Extra
before I
earpiece.
get to Director Mulvaney. First, I wanted to
Extra
share with you guys,
clip guy.
it's a letter that should be going out shortly,
It's
if it hasn't already,
prepositions
that
only.
the President signed this morning, wishing Ray
He's
Chavez,
got the right.
the oldest living survivor of Pearl Harbor, a happy 105th birthday. Our nation owes Mr. Chavez's generation and he a great generation, a debt of gratitude for extraordinary legacy of liberty, freedom around the world, fighting to ensure security and
Security.
prosperity for millions. A
Prosperity.
copy of
212.
the letter will be sent out if
The
it hasn't
letter will be
already.
sent out.
And obviously, we all extend our warm wishes
Blankets.
to Ray and his family as they celebrate his
Blanket.
105th. And the President signed the letter wishing that he hopes to have several more birthdays to
Several
come.
more birthdays.
This afternoon, the President
No
announced
blanket.
his intent to nominate several individuals to key posts at the Department of
To keep
Defense.
more.
Robert Daigle as the Director of Cost
right foot
Assessment
shot,
and
blanket.
Program Evaluation. Elaine McCluster as Principal Deputy Undersecretary of Defense. David
Blanket.
Norquist as
it
Undersecretary
full.
of Defense and Comptroller. Kenneth Rapano as Assistant Secretary of Defense for Homeland Security and Homeland Defense and Global Security. Patrick Shanahan as Deputy Secretary of Defense.
The
And
house.
David Joel Trachtenberg as Principal Deputy Undersecretary of Defense
The
for Policy.
cellular.
The President's glad to have these
They're
extremely
not gonna
qualified
get
men
it.
and women
They're
on
not
board
gonna get it.
to assist Secretary Mattis as he undertakes the great rebuilding of our nation's military. Also this afternoon, the President declared a major disaster in the state of California and ordered
Enterprise
federal
cellular.
assistance to supplement state, tribal, and local recovery efforts in the areas affected by severe winter storms, flooding, and mudslides this January. We also announced this afternoon that Second Lady Karen Pence will lead the presidential delegation to the 2017 Special Olympics World Winter Games in Austria. The House Budget Committee met earlier this morning and approved the American Health Care Act, making it now the third committee to move the AHCA forward.
We'll talk to you
We're
guys
working hand in
later.
glove with the
Remember, no
House to consider
proposition, please.
improvements, and we're confident that this
Extra
thoughtful,
earpiece.
thorough process will lead to legislation that reforms our health care, making it more affordable and accessible to every American. Since we won't have a chance to meet tomorrow in light of the President and
22.
Chancellor Merkel's press conference, I want to quickly walk you through a couple of events on the President's schedule.
The table that
Tomorrow, of
turns.
course, the President will welcome
Criminal
German
minds of
Chancellor
adult.
Merkel here to the White House, rescheduling from the snow
CBS.
inclement weather that prevented that from happening the other day. The President and the Chancellor have a series of
16
meetings
minutes
opposing
tonight.
roundtable,
Leslie
focusing on the importance of vocational
Star.
training with both American and German business leaders. They will also have a press conference in
Leslie
the afternoon.
Star.
We'll have details on the entire day later this afternoon. Also tomorrow, the President will attend a listening session with Veterans Affairs
Leslie Star.
and
What's on tonight?
VA Secretary Shulkin and representative from the various veteran services organizations. It's incredibly important to the President that we reform the VA system so they
Absolutely
can
not.
fulfill the promises made to the women,
We know.
men and women who risk their lives for our nation. He looks forward to discussing potential changes that can help improve the Veterans Administration. On Monday, the President will meet with
Bill
Bill
Whitaker
Gates,
reports
co-founder of
on
Microsoft.
loopholes
He'll also have
in the
lunch with the Vice
H-18
President and a meeting with
visa
the Secretary
program
of State.
that allows
Later that
U.S.
afternoon, the
companies
President will welcome
to displace
Prime
American
Minister Abadi
workers.
of Iraq to the
Scott
White House.
Pelley looks at
And
the
on Wednesday, the
UN's
President has
World
invited all 49
Food
members
Program
of the
in
Congressional
South
Black
Sudan.
Caucus to come to the White
Leslie
House for a meeting.
Stoll won't
The
visit
President looks
the
forward to
set
welcoming for what he
of
hopes will
Sesame
be a
Street
productive discussion.
tonight on
And I also
CBS.
want to remind everyone that I did yesterday via Twitter at the lottery for the 139th annual
The visa
White House Easter egg
program.
roll.